Alright, this is going to be the final build video for the MDT LSS chassis that's currently in my Savage Model 10. First I want to talk about the standard weights. So the Savage Model 10 308 weighs 9 pounds in a stock chassis configuration. This one weighs 10.26 pounds with the bipod, which obviously is all metal, so it adds a little bit of weight on there. So this chassis is actually pretty comparable, but it is pretty heavy. Even though it is short, it's a very thick chassis as far as metal goes, and so in the future I would like to see them add a little bit more weight reduction somewhere. I don't know if this is completely necessary, but this part right here just seems a little bit too long. I won't really know until I shoot the rifle, but for now, that's just part of the design. It's very easy to install. The one thing I didn't like about it is that it didn't come with installation parts. Mostly just the Allen wrench that obviously you need to use to torque down these two bolts right here. I had to go and buy those for a socket or for a torque wrench. That way I knew I got it down to the correct inch pounds. So that is one thing I'd like to see them include in the future. Overall, it's pretty easy to install. It doesn't take very much time at all, and it's pretty standard. If you guys have ever done an AR-15, you obviously know how to install the grip, and you obviously know how to install the side folding adapter or the fixed folding adapter, whichever one you guys end up getting. The one thing there's two main things I don't like about this rifle so far, and one is the front. This cutting that they have for weight reduction is their own kind, and so there's nothing like an M-lock or key mod that they could have done there that would allow more adaptability for you guys that want to run a few other things. Now obviously this is not the XL version, so it is shorter, but with the bipod on there, there's nothing else you can put on here. I actually ordered a Picatinny, just a small rail, just so I could install maybe a light or a laser or something else in the future, but after I installed the bipod I realized that wasn't going to work, obviously, strictly because there just isn't room with this swivel lock adapter on there. And so that's one thing I'd like to see, is them introduce a key mod or an M-lock or something that was more universal, so any AR parts you guys had you can install. Another thing I thought that this rifle could definitely use is a side folding lock position. So when it's here, it's just free. So if you guys wanted to keep this in this position, you'd have to put something through the trigger well into the stock or some other configuration, maybe a rubber band to keep it like that. Some chassis like the G10 do have a lock position on the side, and that's one thing I really like. Now in the lock position, don't get me wrong, this is very sturdy. It is locked, there's no wiggle at all, and so I have to commend them for that. That is a very nice design, and they made sure it was locked very well. In the G10 review, you guys will see that the side locking that they have and just that adapter, I think it's a little bit better. But again, there's no movement when it's in the lock position, so I have to give it to them. It's a very nice design. And you guys obviously saw the review of the stock. I already reviewed this and how this goes on there. Again, this is a lot better than the Magpul just because it's a lot more comfortable to shoot. I decided to hollow this out and then stipple it, so it's very, not rough, but, well, I guess it is rough, and it really sticks to your hand quite well. Just something extra I decided to use. And here's the other side of the rifle right here. Now, one thing I am going to tell you guys about is if you guys have a Savage rifle that has the top bolt release, your life is so much easier. For those of us that don't have that, you have to pull this pin back right here with the trigger to get the bolt out, and they do make that cut for you. There is an extra mod you guys can do if you go to Brownells and you buy the sear for this rifle. You can retrofit it and put it back up top if that's what you guys desire to do. Another benefit is that you can get a aftermarket trigger such as a Timney, which is what I usually like to do, but being that this is going to be my cheaper bolt action rifle, I didn't feel the need to go out and get a Timney and put it in there, just because I figure this is probably maybe a 500 to 700 yard rifle. It could go out to 1,000, but I would probably just take my nicer chassis at that point, so I decided to have this one like that. It does take standard AICS magazines or the MDT magazines. I put Magpuls in here. It locks up just fine, no problem, just as I would expect it to. So that's just something to keep in mind. Other than that, that's pretty much everything I have to tell you guys about just off the build. Everything was easy, everything was standard. Like I said, for an entry-level chassis, I think this is a good option. But from what's out there, and I guess there's only a couple chassis really that are in this price range, and that being McCree's Precision. Everything else tend to be about $1,000 or above. I know XLR has a couple chassis that are cheaper, and I would be willing to check one of those out. But based on the two impressions I have, I would probably go with the MDT, being it's a little bit more than this. But for those of you guys that are on a budget, if you guys can get a sale on one of these and get it for somewhere in the $300 range, then yeah, it would be a very cheap option that gives your rifle a stable platform to shoot from and gets rid of the plastic stock or the composite, whatever they're using. So again, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm willing to do another video or answer your questions just via the comment section. And please like this video if you can. Thanks guys, I appreciate it.